we are limited. We are precluded from 39 specific labors. Among them is the labor of writing. And yet, on this day, which is both Shabbat and Yom Kippur, we are asking God to write us in the book of life. So how can we ask God to do that which we ourselves are not allowed to do? So Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev teaches that when Yom Kippur falls on Shabbat, it is an extra special day because God can only write us in one book, the book of life, because to do that is to do pikuach nefesh, to save a life, and that gets us out of the limitation. So God can't write any one of us in the other book. That means that pikuach nefesh is really important. And pikuach nefesh takes lots of different forms. For some of us, it may mean writing. For others of us, it may mean eating on a day when we're called to fast. And so as we begin this sacred time, let me remind you, our tradition sees it not only as permissible, but in fact encourage a commandment to eat if for any reason medically you need to do so. Same goes with drinking. If you need sustenance while you're here, there is food available in the kitchen. Please, please, taking care of yourself is most important. We'll worry about your soul and your spirit up here. We need you to take care of your body. And so, on this sacred moment of gathering, we recognize the call to fast, but we recognize too the call of pikuach nefesh, to save a life. And we hope that all of our lives will be saved, not just by us, but by God listening and refraining from writing in the ways that we hope God will do. We turn now to page 15, to a wonderful tale of Rabbi Lazar. Rabbi Lazar survived the death camps and returned to his hometown of Czestochow in Poland. For years following the Shoah, he roamed the streets playing a hand organ. At regular intervals, amid the numerous tunes he played, he would intentionally play Kol Nidre. As he did so, he would look into the eyes of the children who walked by, looking for a hint of recognition. In this way, he was able to bring many children back in contact with their people. For us too, Kol Nidre is a moment of recognition, a sound that brings us back to our people. We invite everyone now to rise in body or spirit as we remove the Torahs from the ark and begin the Kol Nidre section of our prayers. Ed, if you will.
O zalhu al tzaddik ולישרי לב שמחה. אור זרוע לצדיק, ולישרי לב שמחה. אור זרוע לצדיק, ולישרי לב שמחה. בשיבה של מעלה ובשיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים.
Together on page 18. Kol Nidre, all vows, resolves, and commitments, vows of abstinence and terms of obligation, sworn promises and oaths of dedication, that we promise and swear to God and take upon ourselves from this day of atonement until the next day of atonement. May it find us well. We regret them, and for all of them we repent. Let all of them be discarded and forgiven, abolished and undone. They are not valid and they are not binding. Our vows shall not be vows, our resolves shall not be resolves, and our oaths, they shall not be oaths.
Kol Nidre ve'esareh v'charameh v'konameh v'chinuyeh v'kinoseh u'shavut. Ishtabana ude acharimena din darna ude ishtabana Biyom Kippurim zeh, Yom Kippurim. Kulhon icharatna behon. Yehon B'teilin u'mevutalin Nidrana la nidre Watana
V'nislach l'chol adat b'nei Yisrael. All shall be forgiven, the entire community of Israel, and the strangers who live in our midst, for all have gone astray in error. Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to the people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now, in keeping with your boundless love. V'sham ne'amar, And God responded, Vayomer Adonai, salachti kidvarecha, I forgive as you have asked. Please be seated. It's my honor now to welcome Stephen German, the president of our congregation, to offer a few words. Steve has spent more hours in this building than even he will acknowledge. I can tell you because the folks at Starbucks are very appreciative. Steve always walks in with the tallest Starbucks cup you can imagine, sometimes 2 in one day, and he spends hours here working on our behalf. And I am eternally grateful for all that Steve does and all that he will continue to be doing for all of us. Steve, thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Feldman. It works. As I begin the last quarter of my term as president, I have to thank you all for granting me this honor. Serving as president of Temple Sinai has been one of the most meaningful and rewarding experiences of my life. I have to thank Rabbi Feldman and Cantor Reinwald. They're the guys here who are actually doing all the work. They bring a major dose of joy to our worship and our community life. Our services and our social functions are a pleasure under their guidance. I thank our wonderful staff who unceasingly do so much for us, most of it behind the scenes. You never see them. Thank you to our board of trustees and especially to the executive committee. They're all volunteers, and they contribute their time and knowledge and make leadership so much easier. You guys are responsible in large part for whatever success we've had in the last couple of years. And most importantly, a name that you've heard from this bema repeatedly, our executive director, Drew Barkley. Now, among Drew's other chores, he has the unenviable task of breaking in a new president every 2 years. I don't know how that doesn't drive him mad. For that, Drew, I thank you, wherever you are. Drew is a leader himself who makes all things Temple Sinai possible. And he does it, dare I say it, with grace. Finally, my biggest thank you goes to Jeanette. She is my editor, she is my censor, my partner, my greatest support. I know that she thought I'd be retired by now, kicking back and munching bonbons. Well, our adventure together went in a different direction. So enough about me, maybe a word or two about Temple Sinai. Things look pretty good as we enter the year 5785. I was fortunate as I began my term. My predecessors, that's them, my predecessors left me a temple which had largely emerged from a bleak time. Their hard work has paid off. As I said a moment ago, our worship services are spirited, thought-provoking, and meaningful. The rabbi and cantor are backed up by the fabulous Temple Sinai choir and the band. And they have both expanded in their numbers and in their musical offerings. Our homegrown talent takes a backseat to no one. I'm especially proud that our youth scene has grown dramatically. The religious school enrollment is rebounding. We are once again confirming students. Our Tot Shabbats have ballooned in attendance. And if you haven't been to one, you really should go. The innovation and the energy to be seen is remarkable. We have a thriving Zennial group who really rocks the Friday night services. Check out the back row. Our new Kiddish club, emphasis on kid, is composed of the graduates of Tot Shabbat, the ones who've aged out. They held their first and very successful get-together last month. Now, by the way, if, like me, you have no idea what a Zennial is, they are the group of older Gen Zs and younger millennials. Now, to truly cover all the age bases, we have a new crop of adult B'nai Mitzvah students. They're preparing now for their debut come next spring. Yesher Koach to all of them. A year ago, I told you that today, here in this synagogue, we are all Jews by choice, that we're here because we want to be, because we choose to be, and not because anyone forces us. I thank you then for your choice to be here, and I thank you again tonight. Now, as Rabbi Feldman reminded us last week, Jews come in many sorts and many beliefs. Here at Temple Sinai, we have all sorts of Jews. Most of us are Ashkenazic. Some of our forebears were Sephardim. We have Jews of color. We have Asian American Jews. We have deeply observant Jews. We have questioning Jews. We have bagel and lox Jews, and we have mahjong Jews. None of that matters. The differences are not important. We're all Jews. We thrive in our diversity. Perhaps we thrive because of our diversity. We all thrive together as a community, and our community is vibrant. So, what's keeping me up at night? As president, it's been my duty, one of my duties, to look down the road, to ensure that our community can remain healthy and fulfilling for us. What I see before us is a challenge. For over 50 years, we have been fortunate to live in a Pittsburgh that supported two growing, strong Reform congregations. Of the of the familiar synagogue model that we all grew up in, that we know. That world is no longer a world in which we live. Demographic trends and changes of attitudes towards traditional religion are set against us. We are having fewer children. More of us and more of those children are choosing not to embrace our synagogue and our modes of worship. Sorry. Temple Sinai's membership has decreased, slowly but steadily, over the past 20 or so years. Now, that trend is not unique to us. Most congregations in most religious denominations face the similar loss in attendance. That's the trend today. We here at Temple Sinai have responded on a timely basis in at least one way. We've reduced our expenses dramatically over the recent years. But now there is nothing really left to cut. Nevertheless, we run an annual deficit. We can do that for now. We can do that for a while, but we cannot do that indefinitely. Now, these trends mean that change is coming to the Temple Sinai we know. We can just go on as we are, as we have been, and hope for the best, hope that everything will turn out. Or we can try to take charge of the change that's happening. I say that doing nothing is not an option. I say again, doing nothing is not an option. Now, let's put the doom and gloom behind us. The story of Temple Sinai is not over, it's far from over. This is Yom Kippur, after all. It's a time to not only reckon with the past, but to go on and plan for a better future. I said that our time presents challenges, yet it also presents opportunities. I see two. First, if Pittsburgh can no longer support two large Reform congregations with two expensive buildings and two sets of duplicative overhead, it will support one larger, more efficient one. Now let's pause for a second. There's a lot of concern out there. I reaffirm to you, as I have said before, no decision has been made to combine Temple Sinai in any way with any other congregation. That decision, if it's ever made, will be made by all of you, not by us. Having said that, I repeat, I believe that if we have the will and the wit, we can build a new community of progressive Judaism here in Pittsburgh. With foresight and hard work, we can create a religious community that works, one that is financially stable and spiritually sustainable. A Jewish community with the energy and the resources not just to survive, but to thrive and to reach beyond ourselves. And that takes me to the second opportunity. And I'm going to go off script for a second. I'm not only talking about finances and budgets and deficits. If that's what it was all about, I wouldn't be here giving this talk. There's more. Our model today doesn't seem to be relevant to the increasing numbers of unaffiliated Jews. But surveys consistently show that many of the affiliated still consider themselves to be Jewish. Moreover, since the events of and beyond October 7th, even more of them crave to connect in some way with their Judaism. I said that Sinai has all kinds of Jews. Here is one more kind. They need us, we need them. We both need to bridge the divide between us. We together are the Jewish community of Pittsburgh, the Jewish people. So we face challenges and we have opportunities, not just for ourselves, but for the entire Jewish community. We must adapt to the changing environment in order to remain meaningful. We must find the ways to preserve the best of what we do now as a community. And make no mistake, we do many things, not just well, but wonderfully. However, at the same time, we must find ways to be something new. We must find the ways to connect with our brothers and sisters who also want to be Jewish, but maybe in different ways. I concluded last year's message with a quote from the great Jewish sage Mark Twain. This new year, I turn to our people's great poet, Robert Frost. He wrote, "I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged. It is for us to finish that stanza." Shana Tova.
We return now to our prayer books, to page 22. We invite everyone to rise in body or spirit. On page 25, we continue together. Day and night are yours, creative spirit of the universe, the muted colors of twilight, the radiance of dawn. Yours are the spreading wings of light, the deepening shadows of darkness, and ever-changing drama. In the human heart, too, the struggle between darkness and light unfolds. From sunlit heights of generosity, the human heart sinks to the gloomy depths of selfishness. Although we fall, you give us the strength to rise again. You call on those who hurt through word or deed to break free from wrongdoing and return to you. All who hear your call to goodness are embraced. All who reject emptiness and evil find acceptance from you. We come into your presence this night of Kol Nidre, aware that our shortcomings and weaknesses are many, yet encouraged by your promise of forgiveness. We choose freely the path of repentance, restoring wholeness to our lives and holiness to the world. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim.
Stop.
seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On 31 in the middle, we continue together. Listen, all who wrestle with your fate. The intimate and the infinite are one. Trust that unity with your whole heart, doubt and all, with your whole soul, and with all the powers at your command. Remember it, repeat it everywhere, working or resting, sitting or walking, night and morning, alone and to all you love. See it written on your hand, on your brow, in every commonplace and in every face. We continue now as we turn ahead to page 38. Emet ve'emunah, truth and faith, these are fundamental to our existence. God alone is their source, and we are Israel, a people of God. Our sovereign saves us from tyranny, redeems us from its violence through countless wonders, from its brutality through great feats beyond measure. We are Israel, a people of God, the giver of life, who would not let our feet give way, the maker of miracles for us against Pharaoh, of signs and portents in the land of Egypt, the one who brought our people Israel from its midst to enduring freedom. We continue on page 40.
מלכותך ראו בניך, וכהים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו ביד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים ופרוס עלינו סוכת סוכת שלומך ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך והושיענו למען שמך והגן בעדנו והסר מעלינו אויב דבר וחרב רעב ויגון והסר שטן מלפנינו ומאחרינו ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו כי אל שומרנו ומצילנו אתה כי אל מלך חנון ורחום אתה. Continue with these words of Shabbat on page 44, Vishamru.
Who had on their bingo card that this was the one and only edition for Shabbat? This is it. Enjoy.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. On page 45. כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תטהרו. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רמה וילמד מרחבותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה בזמן קריב ימרו. יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי תקודשה לעילא ולעילא מן כל ברכת תהילתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן מעלמה, ואמרו
As we turn the page to 46, we invite everyone to rise in body or spirit for the evening tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufiagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, let my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanora Elion, Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avon V'Imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava. חוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם, אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטעם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. קדוש, ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום, יהללוך סלה.
On page 54, we continue together in the middle. V'chein tein kavod Adonai. And so in your holiness, give your people the gift of honor. Bless with praise those who praise you. Bless with hope those who seek you. Give your believers a basis for faith, true happiness for the land of Israel, true joy in Jerusalem. May the sparks of David, your servant, soon grow bright enough for us to see, a beam of light in the darkness, a promise of perfection. We continue on page 58.
Baruch atah Adonai HaMelech HaKadosh.
Blessed are you, Adonai, holy sovereign. We take a few moments now for our own personal, private prayers, time to look in the mirror, time to talk to God, time to listen to God. Take your time. Enjoy these moments we have together. Be seated at your own pace, and we will return on page 76.
ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם, יתברך ויתרומם, שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד.
שמך מלכנו
Baruch Shemo, Hatov Shimcha, Hatov Shimcha, Ulecha, Ulecha, Nael. Amen.
We continue on page 78. Peace, profound and lasting, all embracing. Peace, let this be your gift to Israel, your people. In your goodness, author of peace, bless us and all people, every season, every hour, with the peace that is yours to give. Let us and the whole family of Israel be remembered and inscribed in the book of life. May it be a life of goodness, blessing, and prosperity. May it be a life of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Oseh HaShalom. We turn ahead now to page 82 as we enter into the first of what will be many periods of confession over the next 24 hours. We join together, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, our God and God of all generations. May our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong.
We rise for a Shamnu. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, Hashamnu,
Hashamnu,
Bagadnu,
Bagadnu,
Gazalnu,
Gazalnu,
Dibarnu Dofi,
Dibarnu Dofi,
He'evinu,
He'evinu,
Vehirshanu,
Hirshanu,
Zadnu,
Zadnu,
Chamasnu,
Hamasnu,
Tafalnu Sheker,
Tafalnu Sheker,
Yatznu Ra,
Yatznu Ra,
Kizavnu,
Kizavnu,
Latznu,
Latznu,
Maradnu,
Maradnu,
Niatznu,
Niatznu,
Sararnu,
Sararnu,
Avinu,
Avinu,
Pashanu,
Pashanu,
Sararnu,
Sararnu,
Kishinu Oref,
Kishinu Oref,
Rashanu,
Rashanu,
Shichatnu,
Shichatnu,
Tiavnu,
Tiavnu,
Tainu,
Tainu,
Titanu.
Titanu. We continue on page 86 as we join into the Al-Chet section of the confession. Al-Chet shachatanu lefanecha b'zadon uvishgaga, v'al-Chet shachatanu lefanecha b'dibur peh. The ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, and harm we have caused in your world through the words of our mouths. Al-Chet shachatanu lefanecha be'imutz halev, v'al-Chet shachatanu lefanecha b'tifshut peh. The ways we have wronged you by hardening our hearts, the harm we have caused through words of careless speech. Al-Chet shachatanu lefanecha b'chachash u'v'chazav, v'al-Chet shachatanu lefanecha b'irchilut. Lies and deceit. Al-Chet shachatanu lefanecha biflilut, Ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha bezilzul horim umorim. As we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, and the harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bevidui peh, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha behonaat re'ah. The ways we have wronged you through insincere apologies, and the harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or neighbor. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bechozek yad, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'ma'asa u'v'matan. The ways we have wronged you through violence and abuse, and the harm we have caused you in the world through dishonesty in business. Ve'al kulam Eloha slichot, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu. God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Ve'al kulam Eloha selichot, selach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. Ve'al kulam Eloha selichot, selach lanu, mechal lanu, selach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha begalui u'v'sater, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'frikat ao. The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and the harm we have caused in your world by losing self-control. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha begalui arayot, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'ma'achal u'b'mishteh. The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and the harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'yetzer hara, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'neshach u'v'marbit. The ways we have wronged you by going into our hostile impulses, the harm we have caused in your world through greed and exploitation. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'latzon, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'nitziat garon. The ways we have wronged you through cynicism and scorn, and harm we have caused in your world through arrogant behavior. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'sinat chinam, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'tuma'at shafatayim. Harshness of speech. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'lashon hara, ve'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'tzarut ayin. In your world through a selfish or petty spirit. Ve'al kulam Eloha selichot, slach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Ve'al kulam Eloha selichot, selach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. Ve'al kulam Eloha selichot, selach lanu, mechal lanu, selach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu.
We turn now to page 96. We continue now on page 98. Please be seated.
וקבל ברחמים, ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו. השיבנו אדוני אליך, השיבנו אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו, ימינו כקדם. אל תשליכנו ורחם עלינו, עלינו, וקבל ברחמים, ברחמים וברצון
On page 99, we continue in the middle. Will you hear my voice, you who are far from me? Will you hear my voice wherever you are? A voice calling aloud, a voice silently weeping, endlessly demanding a blessing. This busy world is vast, its ways are many. Paths meet for a moment, then part forever. We go on searching, but our feet stumble. We cannot find that which we have lost. Perhaps my last day is already drawing near. Drawing close are the tears of parting. I will wait for you till my days flicker out, like Rachel waiting for her beloved. We turn now to page 106. We turn ahead now to page 114, and we invite everyone to rise in body or spirit. Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Almighty and Merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu, V'Alol Aleinu, V'Tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our families. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Dever, V'Cherev, V'Ra'av, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei Kotzar, U'Mastin, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu, Kodvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim V'Arukim. Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova U'Metuka. Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu, Malei Yadeinu B'Berchotecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings. Avinu Malkeinu, Harem Keren Mishichecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption. Avinu Malkeinu, na al tashivenu rekam milfanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing. Avinu Malkeinu, kabel barachamim uvratzon et tefilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu lema'an shemecha. Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh lemancha im lo lema'anenu. Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours. Avinu Malkeinu, ein lanu melech ela ata. Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign. Avinu Malkeinu, petach sha'arei shamayim litfilatenu. Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, shema kolenu. Chus v'rachem aleinu. Our voice, treat us with tender compassion. Avinu malkeinu, chonenu vanenu, ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu malkeinu, chonenu v'aneinu. Avinu malkeinu, chonenu v'aneinu, ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu malkeinu, chonenu v'aneinu. Avinu malkeinu, chonenu v'aneinu, ki ein banu ma'asim.
Please be seated. Shana Tova. It is a privilege and a pleasure to stand in this spot at this very moment. I have the choir on one side of me and the past presidents on the other side of me. I know I should probably view this moment as if I were standing in the House of Lords, but to be honest, it feels more like I'm in the House of Commons, with each side ready to show their support or pounce, depending on what I say. This sacred space has been our home, our place of safety and security, our place of comfort and compassion for decades. Each year we gather here, sometimes in easier, happier times, sometimes in darker, more difficult times. Regardless, we as a community have used this space and time to reflect on our strengths and our successes, our mistakes and shortcomings. Within these walls, we have held up mirrors to ourselves and to each other, looking inward and outward, stood alone and together. And each year we have emerged strengthened, more connected, more resolved in our commitments to God and to each other, more focused on the call to continue completing creation. In truth, the power and the Spirit are actually not found in the walls and floors and ceiling and windows of this place. The real strength is found in each one of us. Just like our gathering at the first Sinai, Mount Sinai, soul and strength and direction emerged when Jews and God joined together with a shared understanding, with a commitment to being eternal partners in the pursuit of a promised land. The events at Mount Sinai stand as extraordinary times, not just for our interactions with each other or even with God. In that place at that time, we Jews came together in agreement and acceptance at the base of the mountain. Imagine that, Jews in full agreement. And for a brief time, we actually stood still. I have never been able to stand still very well, and I know I am not alone in this trait. In fact, I'm indebted to Rabbi Gibson for training all of you to accept a rabbi who is in constant motion. At Mount Sinai, we stood still and we stood together as we were given and we received Torah. It was a holy moment, but it only lasted a moment. From that time to this, we Jews have never stopped moving. Almost immediately, we began discussing the commandments of Torah, and almost immediately, disagreements emerged. Some believe this and some believe that, and the holiness of pilpul, of discussion and debates, took hold among our people. Our tradition grew, customs emerged, and central elements became clear. We Jews believe in a set of core values, yet we are always open to new interpretations. We believe in God. We believe in peoplehood. We believe in education. We believe in memory. We believe in dreaming. We believe in marking time and celebrating holidays. We believe in engagement. We believe in the sanctity of rest. We know that life calls us to pause from time to time, but we are also called to keep moving, to keep doing, to keep living. We celebrate Shabbat each week to take time for ourselves to breathe and recharge, but just as soon as Havdalah arrives, it's back to the world of doing. Even in the biggest moments of our lives, our tradition calls us to make the pause brief. Wedding liturgy for Jews is brief. Funeral liturgy for Jews is brief. Our tradition does not like standing still. We want to keep doing, moving, living, growing, exploring, understanding. From the beginning, we Jews have been on the move. When Abram received the call from God to leave home and head for a new land, the story of movement and change began. Avram was told it's time to get moving, time to go create. Those words, Lech Lecha, continue to resonate through the Jewish ear. We are always going on a new journey, always making a transition from what we have known to what could be. In time, our people arrived in Egypt, escaping a famine in the land. We were enslaved there, though, and while we were freed with the outstretched arm of God, the journey from the narrow places to a place of freedom became a defining characteristic of the Jewish people. We are always trying to leave narrowness and always trying to embrace the wider possibilities of hope. Later, our people returned to Eretz Yisrael. Jerusalem became our home and our eternal city. But came the Assyrians and then the Greeks and finally the Romans. We withstood the first two, but the third was more than we could handle. As we were escaping from a burning Jerusalem, it was Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai who cried out, "Give us Yavne." Ben Zakkai knew that what had been was gone, but he also knew that something could be created, something of value and richness and newness of enduring worth. From Yavne came the sages of the Talmud, and Judaism persevered on the move. From Yavne, we endured nearly 2,000 years of diaspora living. Some years in some places were good and welcoming, others not so much. We Jews kept going, kept holding close to our values, but always moving, always adapting, always dreaming about better tomorrows. In 1948, some of those dreams became reality as the new state of Israel was born. Soon, though, Jews all over the world understood that the realization of one dream did not mean an end to a tradition of dreams. On the contrary, new dreams were needed, new challenges needed new responses, new paths forward became necessary. Throughout the centuries, as Jews moved and grew, we returned each year to this night, to the prayers of Yom Kippur and the words of Kol Nidre. Moments ago, we heard the cantor chant those powerful words. We listened to the stirring melody on the cello, and we read together those same words translated into English. While the confessionary prayers call us to look back and take an accurate accounting, Kol Nidre demands something else. The Kol Nidre prayer asks us to look ahead. Kol Nidre asks God to absolve us if, after true effort, we are not able to fulfill that which we attempt. Kol Nidre is a prayer looking ahead, encouraging us to keep moving, providing a bit of insurance so that we will be bold enough to act. Kol Nidre reminds us to run towards something new, to go after the change, to keep moving. Though the holidays have the feel of being held accountable, even as we might try to run from our actions and decisions, this particular prayer actually attempts the opposite. Kol Nidre says, forget about running from something. Instead, Kol Nidre pokes and prods us, saying, go ahead, run towards something. Each of us needs that extra push from time to time, and in harrowing times like ours, even more so. We need that reminder individually, and we need it collectively. Quit looking back at what we are trying to escape. Instead, look forward at what is possible, what we and our children and our grandchildren will need in the years to come. Kol Nidre pulls each of us by the collar and forces tough questions. Are we trying our hardest? Are we willing to take a risk? Are we too comfortable in our present reality? Are we willing to see the world not just from our eyes here and now, but through the eyes of one who is 10, 20, 40, or 60 years younger than we are? On some level, Kol Nidre may well be the secret to our existence as Jews. As much as we honor our past and do everything we can to learn from our elders, we are also faced with the very real idea of looking forward at the same time. At the Seder, we don't just retell the story of the Exodus. We're commanded to tell the story in the first person, making it real, our own story and that of succeeding generations. Kol Nidre does the very same thing. On this night, with those holy words, we commit ourselves to an ongoing journey, to a path of experimentation and change, to a life of learning, exploring, and growing. Kol Nidre reminds us, Judaism is a faith of dynamism, not stasis. We do our best as Jews when we are trying new things, moving forward, adapting. The Jewish story of movement and change exists right here in Pittsburgh. In 1885, leaders of a new branch of Judaism committed to growth and change met here in our city. The Jews of Pittsburgh in those days lived mostly in what was then called Allegheny City, an area we now know as the North Side. The gathering in the fall of 1885 resulted in the Pittsburgh Platform, the first statement of the new American Reform movement. That platform included significant changes, and it reflected the times in which it was created. Judaism continued to move and grow in Pittsburgh. In time, Jews moved across the Allegheny and settled in the Hill District and later in Squirrel Hill and the East End. The Jewish population expanded and thrived, welcoming immigrants and becoming an incubator for learning, modernization, and change. In 1999, our reform movement returned to Pittsburgh and produced a new platform. This new document embraced Zionism. It embraced text study. It embraced Tikkun Olam and much more. Just as the 1885 platform represented the values of the day mixed with tradition and faith, so too did the 1999 platform highlight the essential elements of our Jewish identity as viewed through a modern lens. And now, in our time, we are exploring new ideas in our Jewish community. After years of conversation, this past year saw a new move towards exploration of unification with Rodef Shalom congregation. Many have spent countless hours asking questions, dreaming, imagining. The exploration continues with no decisions having yet been made. In truth, I don't even know where it will all lead, but I do know that the work of this unification project represents the highest ideals of the Kol Nidre prayer, made real in the heartfelt efforts of many people in both congregations. Whether we as a congregation decide to come together with our friends down the street or not, the time spent in discovery provides manifold benefits. Taking an honest look at our current reality only serves to help us. Spending time considering who we are and who we wish to become can only serve to make us more attuned to the people of our community. Clarifying our most treasured values, education, inclusion, worship, music, doing good for others, openness, only serves to make us better, make us a more welcoming community, united in covenantal relationships. And building relationships and friendships with our fellow Reformed Jews can only serve to benefit all of us. If, after concerted efforts, we decide to move toward unification, our path will be made smoother by this work. And if, after concerted efforts, we decide to continue on our own, our path will be made clearer by these efforts. We are fulfilling the essence of Kol Nidre by our acts of exploration. Right now, any one of us could drive down Negley Avenue from here towards the zoo. On that ride, we would pass a number of buildings that once housed synagogues. We can still notice the beauty of those buildings, smile at the memories of those now defunct congregations. They served the Jews of our community well, yet they are all gone. Our choice this evening is all about what a drive down Forbes Avenue or Fifth Avenue might look like in 10, 20, or 30 years. Do we want our offspring to look and point and say, that building over there used to be a synagogue? Or do we want to have future generations point and say to that spot, that building, that place, the people inside it represent the beating heart of a vibrant Jewish community? Kol Nidre calls us to look forward. Kol Nidre calls us to take chances and to be willing, to be experimental, to try, even if we might not succeed. Kol Nidre calls us to push as hard as we can, to try our very best. Kol Nidre reminds us of our core principles, our most deeply held beliefs. And Kol Nidre begs us to see the world not just through our eyes, but through the eyes of the next generation and the generation after that and the generation after that. Tonight, we gather to reconnect and recommit. Tonight, we honor our past. We own our successes and our mistakes. And tonight, we look forward, joining together in dreaming and imagining and building a future worthy of our offspring and worthy of the divine. Immerse yourself in this holy day. Join me in looking back and in looking ahead. Join us in crafting the next chapter of the Jewish story. Sit still for today. Sit still for tomorrow. But after that, join me. Get up. Get moving. L'Shana Tova.
It's from last year.
Our thanks to Michael Lipman and to Ann Martindale-Williams for joining us this evening with their instruments and providing us with uplifting music. Our thanks to the members of the choir, to Allison Groden, who added her beautiful voice as well, to Ellen Feeney, who answers to Shirley Feeney, depending on the day. We appreciate her as well. We look forward to joining together tomorrow. We have a full schedule from services beginning with our tots at 8 o'clock, all the way through with David Johnson's interviews at 1:30, and then the Beit Midrash sessions at 2:30, continuing until Ne'ilah and its conclusion sometime tomorrow evening. We hope you'll join with us for all of it. For now, we turn to our prayer books, to page 116. We rise in body or spirit as we join together in Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, L'Tekenu L'Yotzer Reshit, Shelo Asanu Kigoye Haratzot, Velo Samanu K'mishpechot Adama, Shelo Sam Chelkenu Kahem, V'goralenu Kechol Hamonam, V'anachnu Koreim, U'mishtachavim U'modim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'ne'emar V'haya Adonai Lemelech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu Yihyeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad.
Please be seated. We turn now to those who have died at this season in years past. As you hear the name of your loved one mentioned, we invite you to rise in body or spirit. On this Shabbat of Yom Kippur, we recall those whose yahrzeit occurs in the coming week: Michael Charles Allen, Paul Alter, Naomi Breslau, Faye Cohen, Kathleen Kalura, Miriam Cooper, Fanny Frank, Manny Frank, Robert K. Frank, Dolores Franzos, Stanley Franzos, Joseph Garfinkel, Ralph Goldberg, Reuben Goldsmith, Mary Gorelick Golan, Shirley Gordon, Gail Hanna, Carol Krieger Hayes, Robert Holtzman, Sarah Johnson, Jay Joseph, Morley Jubileer, Bonnie Barkley Kay, Bertha Kelman, Dr. Carl B. Claudel, Beatrice Kornman, Samuel Kranich, Theodore Kraut, Alex Kushkin, Erwin LaBelle, Esther Landau, Edna Licht, Samuel Lebowski, Sheila Malkin, Esther Miller Marcus, Reuben Miller, Sanford C. Molans, Grace Moritz, Benjamin Ostroff, Arthur Pollock, Celia Bear Rakusin, Eugene Rosen, Ray Sablowski, Rose Schonfarber, Rose N. Schwartz, Alex M. Sherman, David Solomon, Josh Sowers, Lillian Weinstein, Millicent Mimi Young, Elaine Zawatsky. And to those names, we add the names of those taken from us only in recent weeks. We are in Shloshim for Colleen Davidson, Robert Levitt, Sally Krugel, Dr. Stephen Adelson, Elaine Weisberg, Rabbi Bert Schumann, and we are in Shiva for Belle Sender Brody. We rise now as a congregation. We join together in the words of Mourner's Kaddish, found on page 122. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם לעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי נקודשה בריחו. לעילה ולעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו amen. May their memories ever be a source of blessing for all of us. Amen. We conclude with the singing of Oseh Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova.